Morning. I'm going to take a deep breath in before I begin applying my oils in preparation for the rest of what we will be talking about while others are beginning to get online. And it's so wonderful to see all these hearts already coming online. I appreciate your being there. So let's all take a deep breath together. Whatever oil you have nearby, pick it up and breathe it in. The breath is going to keep us in this present moment and more grounded, more than anything else we can do. And of course, those of us who use our oils every single day, multiple times, understand that as we breathe in the oils, we are going to enhance what the breath can do for us. So the oils I have lined up to apply before we actually begin today is gratitude first, because gratitude is a very, very high frequency. And this is a time that every one of us can reach down and find those things for which we are most grateful. Every single one of us has things to be grateful for that are occurring. And so gratitude, focus upon gratitude. It's one of the highest frequencies that that exists. The next oil that I'm going to apply right now in preparation is awaken. Awaken to the possibilities. Now, I used this blend in the last few weeks several times, as you may have noted on the videos. But as we awaken to new ways of doing things, this is exceptionally important for every single one of us to understand that old ways of doing things will not necessarily produce results now. So we need to wake up and awaken to the changes. Release those fears and beliefs that we're holding on to. So I'm applying the release blend. Remaining in the present moment. What happened yesterday is over. What is going to happen tomorrow, no one really knows. All that we really have is the present moment. So let us make the most of this present, this gift of this moment, and remain in this moment, grounded in this moment. This may take a bit of valor, courage. So I have my Valour here as well. So, and it looks like it's probably past 11 o'clock at this point because it's taken me a while to apply those oils. But we will actually get started. Today I chose to talk about gratitude because the frequency of gratitude is such a high frequency, and we've been talking over the last 2 weeks a lot about frequency, the frequencies of the crystals, the frequencies in general. So many things we have around us. Everything that is living has a frequency. The human body has a frequency. So what is frequency? As I've mentioned before, it's the length of time that it takes to get from one point to another as these vibrations are moving. And as we are at a higher frequency, things that have a higher frequencies can have the ability to pull up things that are at a lower frequency. So I've heard a lot of amazing things this past week. And one of the things that I I just wanted to share this because I can't remember who actually wrote this, but I read it and I thought, oh, I have to remember it. Shared intelligence sparks solutions. Shared fear sparks chaos. Now I want you to think about that for just a moment, because that fear, there is fear going on everywhere right now. And fear is going to be a real challenge to overcome. So let's kind of back up just a little bit, because what I'm going to talk about now is how the frequency of the body is affected, because many, many years ago, over 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, Gary Young met a man who had developed a machine for measuring frequency of objects. And so he and Gary got together and measured the frequency of some of our essential oils, many of our essential oils and blends, and also they measured the frequency of a healthy human body. And they found that the human brain is the highest frequency in our body. It is somewhere between 72 and 90 megahertz. It's moving along rapidly. Even when sleeping, the human brain, the frequencies are really moving along rapidly. And the human body, a healthy human body, from the brain down, not the neck, the brain, it is somewhere between 62 and 68 megahertz. That's a very small range, would you agree? So after we begin going down the bar and become lower than 62 megahertz, we may begin experiencing symptoms of illness and disease, of being unwell on some level. They found that the cold symptoms would creep in at 58 megahertz. Flu, one lower at 57. I'm reading this. Candida is a little bit lower, about 55. Epstein-Barr, 52. Cancer, 42. And death begins at 25 megahertz. So there's not a large range in there. And it's very important that we keep our frequency at the highest possible level. So we've talked about different things, about crystals holding a frequency, having that capability so that as you hold crystals and have them in your living space, there is the potential for them enhancing your own frequency. Now, I would say that every one of us here would like very much to remain in that 68 megahertz range where we are super, super healthy people, so that we can feel good, so that we can experience joy and happiness and do the things that we choose to do in our life. Would you agree? Now, just as a matter of reference, processed food has 0 megahertz of frequency. Nothing good, nothing bad, except that it's 0. Fresh produce can be up to 15 megahertz. Dry herbs between 12 and 22. As the herbs are dried, they tend to drop frequency. Fresh herbs between 20 and 27 megahertz. And essential oils, the very lowest frequency of any essential oil that they tested, these were the Young Living essential oils, was 52 megahertz, and it went all the way up to 320, which is how they tested rose. So I have a bottle of rose sitting here, and I'm going to use my rose because I'm choosing to enhance my frequency with the essential oils. I'm also choosing to enhance my frequency with sound, with the singing bowls, with the bell. I have been rubbing my bell and my bowls with the various essential oils to enhance, and intending to enhance their frequency. Holding my crystals, rubbing them with the essential oils that are known to be very high frequencies. Now, what are some of these essential oils that have extremely high frequencies? Well, as I mentioned, rose was the highest one that Gary tested. There have been many thoughts that some of the other essential oils might have a higher frequency than the rose. However, Gary did not test any of the others that were any higher. He did not find one higher. So, however, Northern Lights Black Spruce is known by many, it is thought to be an extremely high frequency. So using the Northern Lights Black Spruce, breathing in the various blends that have the black spruce, the Northern Lights Black Spruce in them, may have the ability to raise your own frequency. I find that, let me go through some of these others. The blend of forgiveness, they tested to be 192 megahertz. The frequency of any forgiveness will unblock emotions for every single one of us, and it can raise our own frequency as we seek to forgive ourselves for what we have done or for what we have not done. That is essentially what we can do. It's not about forgiving others, but rather forgiving ourselves. The rhodochrosite will anchor this. This is the glyph that anchors that frequency of forgiveness as well. That warm pinks. I love surrounding myself with a lot of the warm pink color to remind me to increase that frequency of forgiveness, to unblock whatever is causing the challenges. They found that Joy Blend had a frequency of 188 megahertz. Wow. The frequency of joy itself, of happiness, has the ability to offset a lot of fear, a lot of anger. The two of the very lowest frequencies of all are fear and anger. So as we replace them with joy, forgiveness, acceptance, we can raise that level of frequency. As we raise it in ourselves, it will radiate out from us, enhancing the frequencies of everything and everyone around us. Now, right now we're in that unprecedented state of social distancing. This is a new phrase that we never had before, would you agree? And so we're not physically in touch with as many people. However, it can go beyond geographic boundaries. Energy travels through everything. As each one of us is enhancing our own frequency and rising above that fear and chaos, we are all supporting each other and the whole. So I would suggest that each one of you really pay attention to what's going on. Now, this is something that I have found to be so important, and I was really, really pleased when I heard to write, to journal daily. And I got to thinking, wow, think of your journaling daily of what this will mean for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren 50 years from now, as they see what you are thinking and feeling and doing during this period of unprecedented chaos. We're all experiencing this new wave of things coming in, a new way of dealing with things. Now this morning, I selected this card for myself, which is acceptance, to embrace the changes, to embrace where I am, how I'm feeling. What better way to embrace it than to sit down and actually write what you are truly feeling. This is not for someone else to read. It doesn't have to be flowery language, but rather what is really going on in your inner self. You may, by doing this a bit, and we all have more time alone now, would you agree? This would be a wonderful activity to truly understand more of who you are. And we don't read it immediately. It's not for showing other people, as I said. It's something that maybe looking back on, we'll say, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that I thought that that was in my realm of thinking. So as you're writing, just allow the words to flow. And some people prefer writing on the computer. Most of the time, people will also say that if they write it in their own handwriting, it seems to be more effective even than writing it on the computer. It's harder to save because I know I have notebooks, I have journals everywhere that I started, but then I didn't take them with me and have them with me, so it's more difficult. However, it may be the most important thing that you do for yourself. Now, another one of the blends that Gary tested was Sacred Mountain. And many of you know that Sacred Mountain is one of my very, very favorite blends. And one of the reasons I think that I have always loved it from the day I first smelled it in 1998, it anchors that energy of the sacred space, the space that I'm choosing to live in. More and more, my goal is to remain in my sacred space 100% of the time. That may not ever be totally possible, but it's my goal. And just in case you haven't seen it, this is the way I visualize my sacred space, with that connection with the source above and going all the way down through the core of Earth, with some boundaries up to keep that chaos, that fear, those distractions away, and to create that place of harmony where I can exist in that connection to the source and in that space of complete harmony within and around me. No fear, no regrets, no I should have, I shouldn't have, no judgment. All beautiful harmony, everything working together. This will produce wellness on all levels. It will produce that frequency that's higher enough to stay above the wellness line. So as we are working from many angles, using our tools, we have the essential oils, we have the colors, we have the sound, we have our thoughts, and our thoughts truly, truly control our energy. They really affect our frequency. As I mentioned before, one of the highest frequencies, or the highest frequency known, is that of love. love, joy, happiness. And two of the lowest, the very lowest, are anger and fear. So let us bolster ourselves up and rise above that fear. One of my good friends did a short video this week, Vikas Malkani, talking about thinking of life and thinking of this as a wave, that the waves start and become large and roll into the shore. Some of them are very angry waves. This is like that wave, and we have three choices basically. We can fight the wave. What happens when we fight the wave? If anyone knows about swimming in the ocean, if you fight a wave, you can be swept out to sea. What happens if we just attempt to relax and drift with the wave? We will probably get to shore somewhere. We don't necessarily know where. But what happens if we determine to surf, to be like a surfer, to get on top of that wave and to ride that wave into the shore? So I leave you with this thought. Are you going to fight the wave of life? Are you going to just let it toss you wherever? Or are you going to learn to surf, be on top of that wave, and allow it to carry you to the next level? Have a beautiful, beautiful week filled with self-awareness, understanding more of who you are, really taking time to understand your priorities. With our new life challenge, we have talked so much about our refinement list. Grow actively refining yourself every single day, paying attention to the things that are most important, and paying attention, understanding the things that you really will not allow into your life experience. So as you work with your refinement list, it will change. And spend some time this week understanding more about what it is you choose to have, your priorities, and what you are really realizing, understanding now, you just will not allow in your life. And intend to understand and to remain in that beautiful space of harmony and balance within. And I'll see you next Sunday.